Everything in the universe is composed of energy vibrations. Quantum physicists have discovered that material atoms are actually composed of countless tiny energy vortices. The hypothesis suggests that all matter in the universe is composed of energy vibrations. Have you ever wondered why some people can see ghosts, Buddhas, or fairies, while most others cannot? They deny the existence of those invisible beings. Perhaps they think that seeing is believing, and without seeing, one cannot believe, but is that notion entirely accurate? The Buddha taught that we should return to the root, not chase after the branches. Throughout 49 years of spreading the Dharma, he skillfully employed countless expedient means to teach, sometimes elaborating in detail, other times conveying profound truths with brevity, now speaking directly, now guiding indirectly, always adapting to liberate sentient beings according to their circumstances. Is the author implying that technical details like how long an elephant's trunk is or how many hairs are on its tail are important? But to teach the ignorant like us to open our eyes wide and see the blank quantum constant, the mystical essence of the cosmos. Mark Blank was the teacher who taught Albert Einstein. He is the founder of quantum theory and was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1918 for this research. He is regarded as one of the most brilliant physicists of the 20th century. After a long period of diligent research and in-depth study, he couldn't help but exclaim, "The most important conclusion in my atomic research is, in reality, there is no such thing as matter in this world. Matter is formed from the combination of quanta oscillating at high speeds." From a human perspective, matter in the world is divided into two types: tangible matter, which can be seen or perceived, and intangible matter, which cannot be seen with the naked eye. However, from a scientific perspective, this can only be observed under a microscope or through specialized measurement methods. Whether tangible or intangible, in essence, all things are forms of energy in constant vibration. And precisely because this form of energy has a vibrational frequency unlike any other, therefore, the materials formed from it also have surfaces with varying shapes. Substances vibrating at high frequencies become invisible, almost to the point of vanishing. Because it is the thought, emotion, and consciousness of humanity. Substances oscillating at low frequencies manifest in tangible forms, such as tables, chairs, or the human body, visible to the naked eye. Thus, in this way of speaking, humans possess two distinct types of bodies, existing simultaneously in two separate worlds. A tangible world with human bodies, houses, and vintage cars. Beyond the visible world, there exists an invisible realm with souls, demons, heaven, and even hell. The two types of bodies mentioned above are the physical body and the soul. At first glance, one might easily mistake the soul and the body as two separate concepts, with no connection between them. However, in essence, both the soul and the body are material, which is to say, they are energy. All matter, whether tangible or intangible, is a manifestation of ceaselessly vibrating energy. The difference between them is simply due to their differing oscillation frequencies. Therefore, it will produce materials with varying surface shapes. Matter is essentially energy, also known as chi, a concept we are all too familiar with, or its oscillation in physics. Essentially, it must be emphasized that matter is energy, or in other words, they are oscillations in physics. This is also the qi in qigong, as referred to in Eastern medicine. Depending on the specific context, people will use different terms. Regarding the nature of matter, the principle of vibration states that everything in the universe is in constant motion, vibrating at varying frequencies. This is one of the 7 cosmic principles in the mystical philosophical system of ancient Egypt and Greece. Clearly, no object is completely still or motionless. Everything is in constant motion, all is vibrating. The sacred treasures of the East from the time of the Buddha around 2600 years ago also affirmed that everything in the universe is formed from the combination of vibrations. Through the constant fluctuations among the constituent microscopic particles, matter forms a tightly bound structure. The surface of things is not divided or separated, thus allowing them to combine into form. Modern science has also uncovered the connection between energy and matter. The most famous formula is Einstein's E equals mc squared, where E represents energy, m is mass, and c is the speed of light. However, since humans can only perceive and experience the world through 5 senses, originally designed as a 3-dimensional, 3D, teaching tool, it suffers from significant limitations. Additionally, due to the linear perception of time, we have misunderstood. Perceiving tangible matter with clear boundaries and continuous yet unstable energy fields are 2 entirely distinct concepts. The previous method used Newton's classical dynamics as the basis. The following section takes James C. Maxwell's classical electrodynamics theory as its representative. Yet, both Newton and Maxwell ultimately became 2 great pillars. At the end of the 19th century, classical physics had reached the peak of its development. However, as scientists delve deeper into the atomic world, point the telescope lens or use other specialized measurement methods, delve into the smallest microscopic level to observe, or reach toward the vast, boundless universe above to explore, they have discovered situations that are beyond the grasp of current human sensory experience. There are situations that prove matter and energy are essentially very similar, because, as mentioned, they are fundamentally one. At the beginning of the 20th century, quantum mechanics and the theory of relativity completely overturned the classical physics concepts of time and space. The most famous formula is E equals hv by Max Planck, where E represents energy, h is Planck's constant, and v stands for oscillation frequency. When an object typically has a higher oscillation frequency, its energy is greater, provided other factors remain unchanged. David R. Hawkins' map of consciousness. We often think that matter and energy, or spirits and souls, are 2 entirely different things. Because most of the things and phenomena we perceive are based on knowledge and follow objective laws. In other words, external knowledge and objective laws shape our thoughts, which then become the foundation of language. This way of thinking turns people into dichotomized products, carrying a rigid, polarized mindset. Thus, in human life, good and evil always coexist, right and wrong exist side by side, the good comes with the bad, joy inevitably brings sorrow, all things have their opposites. According to research by Dr. David R. Hawkins, a renowned American psychiatrist and spiritual teacher, in the theoretical scale of energy, the vibrational level of goodness always occupies a high position, while that of evil resides at a low level. Here is the detailed information table. Here are the possible English translations based on the given context. 3. A serene and joyful space 540. 4. 500 years of love and reverence. 5. Deep rational understanding 400. 6. Tolerance and generosity 350 words. Here are the natural English translations for the given Vietnamese text. Here are the natural English translations based on the context. 9. The bolder you are, the more you can assert 200. The average height of adults is 175 centimeters. 11. Hatred and resentment 150. 12. The burning aspiration of 125. 13. Extreme fear and anxiety. 14. The sorrow of the death anniversary in July, 75. 15. Utterly indifferent and cold to the core. Here are the natural English translations for the given Vietnamese text, depending on the context. 17. Utterly ashamed and humiliated. People at level 10 or below often have weak health and are prone to chronic or serious illnesses. 20. Each realm carries its own distinct energy. 21. That is why the ancients said, life lies in movement. This saying relates to exercise, whether it's internal cultivation or external movement. Whether in the province or in a cave, sitting in meditation is always the right way. For example, matter and energy can be wasted like. These 2 things lie at opposite ends of the same entity, gradually transforming into another state. One side is black, the other is white, and between them lies the shade of gray. Gray embodies the characteristics of both black and white, ranging from a gray with a hint of white, gradually shifting to a gray with a hint of black. This phenomenon is quite similar to the principle of dipolarity. Another principle, alongside the principle of oscillation, also belongs to the previously mentioned mystical theoretical system. Everything exists in pairs, everything has two poles, everything has its opposite. Similarity and difference are essentially two sides of the same issue, seemingly opposite yet fundamentally one. Only differing in degree, extremes at their utmost will eventually meet. All truths in this world, in the end, are but half-truths, only partially correct. All conflicts and contradictions can be resolved. Thus, the soul and the body of a human being, though two, are one, two aspects of the same unified entity. Like right and wrong, good and evil, joy and sorrow. Essentially, they are identical, differing only in the level of energy fluctuation. From the perspective of psychology and medicine, high-frequency vibrational energy is a subtle form of energy. Matter at higher structural levels, when its vibrational frequency decreases, becomes denser and heavier, much like the human body. The human body exists within four fundamental elements: earth, water, fire, and wind, the building blocks of the universe according to Buddhist philosophy. Among these elements, the physical body has the lowest vibrational frequency. Perhaps that is why both the scientific community and spiritual leaders advise people to live with integrity, restrain their anger, and maintain a peaceful and gentle soul.